Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the first ever MSA Africa Cup Esports right here in South Africa, where we're going to be taking the best in Africa, putting them against one another to see who will walk away with the crown and be crowned the MSA Africa Cup Esports champion for 2024. The biggest bragging rights you can have in the world of sim racing. And right here in South Africa, we're going to host it. My name is Stephen Koenig, and a massive, massive welcome to every single one of you as we now look to have a bit of fun at Kyalami. And we're going to be kicking off the proceedings with our AM division that is going out. And I mean, we've had a record-breaking amount of entries. We had up to 110 entries plus getting into this event to make it happen, and having everyone from around Africa looking to join in and be a part of it. Let's take a look at Kyalami though. We're going to start down our main straight, heading into a small right-hand kink. That is a 15-degree corner before you dive down into Crowthorne. That's where you can see side by side the cars will go 4 wide generally, as then they make their way through out of Crowthorne up towards Barbecue and into a sharp left-hander of Barbecue onto the old pit straight, where they've just going to have to give it everything they've got to charge their way down to Sunset, where the drivers will have to keep up the pace with the rest. Through Sunset, you're going to have to quickly climb on the anchors and get into Clubhouse, which is a left-hander. Short little straight before you head into the legendary S's up to Leeuwkop, which also used to be called Westbank at one point. Down the mine shaft you go, reaching about 310 kilometers now before you slamming on the anchors for the right-hander, making your way through to Cheetah, with Cheetah being one of those predator corners that will go and throw you off into the weeds quicker than anything. Especially here in sim racing, we watch a lot of guys run into problems there, and then eventually into Ingwe, where we're going to go racing. This is a phenomenal time, and thank you very much to everyone tuning in for this historic event. But I know you're sick and tired of hearing me. You want to hear the cars, you want to see the drivers. This is our AM division, and let's get them out on screen as they starting off their qualifying. So in the car with Jubair at the moment, trying to make his way through as they blast their way down the mine shaft for the very first time. This is their 15-minute qualifying. This is the AM division. It's a little bit smaller than the rest of the divisions. Our Pro, which is our feature races, that got a stacked 35-car grid. Our Pro-Am tomorrow, also a stacked 35-car grid. And we've got our AM, which has got the remaining drivers. But don't count these drivers out. They are incredibly quick in the world of sim racing. We're looking forward to seeing them. And they've made it to this race. Take a look. This is Lucas Jabir out on the circuit for Team LTR. And then you got Jordi and Vivian, who is out as well. The father and son racing team looking to make a stamp right here in the legendary play. We have also got Do Herber out on track. Bertus Hugo from RaceFace.Pro is actually sponsoring the servers. A big shout out to RaceFace.Pro and ZRC Zodiac Racing community going and helping out with our stewards this evening, and RaceFace.Pro helping out with our servers this evening and also for the weekend. Both are helping out. Garrett Jacobs also out on circuit from the ZRC team. Then we got Kevin Bug all the way out up Africa, out in Namibia. Good to see him joining in, having a bit of fun representing his country. We've got Fred Alberts as well, Chevy Bazan, Rian van der Westhuizen, Matthew Carter, and following it up, Ashton Repsold, who just got in to his times last night as we had our cutoff. And taking a look out to the grandstands. Love to see you guys out there. We've got some very familiar names that have made impacts here in the sim racing. Oh, as we check Sivi Basson. Sorry, that wasn't Sivi Basson. That was one of our BMWs. That would have been Van der Westhuizen going and losing the tail end. But we've got a couple of big names joining us in the sides. Watching the spectators. We've got George G. Max, who was part of the original build-up to broadcasting right here in South Africa for sim racing. He's out in there. We have got guys from across Africa all supporting, so big welcome. We've got Bago, who's going to be racing in our pros. That's Johan Krobler, Jason Farmer, Hansi Myberg, Jean-Ray Depner, Michael Schultz. Depner going and supporting Rian, who is out on circuit over here in the big BMW. We've got Rob van der Heerde, Candy Mom, also going and saying, let's go racing to Repsol Racing. Carl de Witt, Ruben Heineke, Snippers, that's Savasav. We'll see him out this weekend as well. Ruben Clips, Weezy Cyclist. We've got so much going on, and this is the first time I do want to point out that sim racing is being broadcasted on the channel for the likes of Motorsport South Africa. And as I said, this signed off by FIA is just absolutely incredible and shows the amount of work that's gone in. At the moment, Bertus Hugo leading out the charts, a 1:43.4 as he leads it out, with Do Herber in second place with a 43.9, trying to make up some time. Kevin Bug lying in third place at the moment. Lucas Joubert out in fourth place. Gerrit Jacobs in fifth place. Sixth place is Fred Alberts. He's trying to get a little bit more pace underneath him as he makes his way up to Leocorp. Hard on the brakes. The Aston Martin trying to swing it in and get going. You'll see a lot of Astons will be coming to the circuit this weekend because it's just a very popular car. It's a very stable car and works rather well. Jordan Vivian out there in the BMW M4 GT3 going and racing it out. He's doing everything he can to put himself onto the top. We've got Fred Alberts trying to make up a bit of time as well. Chevy Basson in 8th place. Ruan van der Westhuizen getting a little bit of a spin through Cheetah, and drivers having to take evasive maneuvers to get round him. So Cheetah claiming its first victim for this race and getting caught out. This is absolutely tremendous stuff. Chevy Basson out there on the circuit running in 9th place. 10th is Matthew Carter. Aston Repsol needing to put in a lap time at the moment. Jude Stewart needing to get a lap time in. And John Stewart, who's just joined and getting out onto the server, he is going to battle it out and try and get a lap in with 8 minutes remaining. The time to beat is Bertus Hugo, the 1:42.7, the 777, and Chevy Basson managing to put himself up into 2nd place, so he's done a great job there. Doug Herbert down into 3rd place. Kevin Bug going and picking his pace up so far, making a great bit of time as they charge their way through. It does look like there's going to be a bit of traffic starting to build up behind the big BMW, as they all just trying to get these laps in. So let's explain how the weekend's proceedings are going to go. Starting off for tonight, this is our AM division. It is a bit slow, a little bit smaller, but tomorrow we will have our Pro-Am starting at 1 o'clock. Grid of 35 cars to take to the circuit, and then at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon is the big one. It's our feature. That is the fastest that Africa has to offer, that will be fighting it out for the crown. Only one winner can take it. There's no team, there's no buddy, there's no I'm gonna have my mate work with me. There can only be one winner to take home the crown for the MSA Africa Cup Esports for 2024, the inaugural event. And this is going to be a proper run. So 15 minutes qualifying. Our race is a 19-minute race with 2 mandatory pit stops. The drivers are going to have to do 2 mandatory pit stops to get themselves sorted. If they get that wrong, they will be falling down the order as quick as they can be. Lucas Joubert for the LTR team going and dropping the wheel off on the dirt, sporting a couple of sponsors on their MSI NAG. They're all going and putting some support behind their driver. And also got the very nice Luma rims. Gotta say, like it. Really do like it. In the immortal words of my predecessor in South Africa, commentating for sim racing, it's all about deliveries. You gotta have a nice striking livery out there to already put your foot up on the rest of the competition. Not only just the pace. Oh, there's a little bit of side by side going on there. It does look like Jordan having a bit of a moment where he had a slight disconnect. He was able to bring it back, but he's trying everything he can to keep on going. John Stewart, though, out in the Ferrari 296, one of the very few Ferraris we see out racing this time around. New Ferrari 296 to the Sims, doing a fantastic job, and is a car that will keep everyone on their feet. We've also got the McLaren, like what Matthew Carter's got. He's the only McLaren in the field for the ZRC team. And being the only McLaren out there, he does have the advantage of no one can really guess what that car is going to do. And how they're going to put themselves out front. Taking a look over to the grandstand. So the support coming in is immense. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and hit the bell notification icon. Let's keep up the amazing spirit going into this weekend. George E. Max even saying it's true, liveries win races. Yes, that's what we've seen. You know, skills about 50%, but if you really don't know math so well, 100% goes to livery. So I think if you put it in the math way, 98% livery, 2% skill, if I'm right in saying that. Peter Murray also jumping in, and then Jean-Ray Damper, who's one of our drivers outside of South Africa, is competing in the Pro-Ams, is keeping an eye on his fellow countrymen and keeping an eye on the amazing efforts going out. Bertz Hugo with a 42.4. He's still 0.1 up on his time at the moment. Basson waiting in the pits patiently. He is 0.4 off the fastest lap time. Stewart trying to make up some ground as well. Part of the Angry Racing team. And far as I'm aware, the Angry Racing team, just catching it into the wall, getting a tank slapper on the way into, oh man, that's getting a little bit caught out. But Jude Stewart, part of the Angry Racing team that is running, they're in the karting this weekend, the Africa Cup karting. and that is running parallel to our sim racing. So this is just to go and bring the best of the best from Africa in karting and sim racing to fight it out on the circuit, and we're going to do it right here at the legendary Kyalami Grand Prix circuit to make it or break it. Kevin Bugh having a great bit of fun out there in the Mercedes. At one point, when he was first entering, went and said, listen, I want to be a little bit different. I really love the look of the Nissan, but I just can't get to grips with it. I really want to have the Nissan out there having a bit of fun. So let's see how that's going to go. Right, let's take a look at who's in the order. Bertus Hugo, Chevy Basson, Jude Stewart, Doe Herber, along with Kevin Bugh is out and racing in 5th place. 6th is Lucas Joubert, Matthew Carter in 7th. 8th place is John Stewart, along with Ashton Repsold, Fred Alberts, Gerrit Jacobs, Ruan van der Steisen, and Jordan Verveen going and fighting it out. Dirk van der Merwe, where is he? I don't think he's racing in the AM division tonight. He may be in with the massive grid we have of our Pro-Am and our feature race that will be out tomorrow. So keep an eye out on them. Quite a few drivers will be up in that as well, and we'll be putting in a fantastic show. Right, lap time so far. Aston Repsold doing a great job. He's 0.2 up on his last lap time. As you see, one is his ZRC. That's Gerrit Jacobs going and landing off into the dirt. So a little bit of farming going on for that Ferrari. Not ideal. It's not quite built to cut the lawn at this point, but he's going to do everything he can to just keep it all together. At the moment, with our lap time starting to come down, 1 minute 42 left of our qualifying session before we head into the race, and our AM division will be the very first sim racing division to kick off the Africa Cup Esports for 2024, and the first inaugural Africa Cup Esports. So this is just where you want to be. This is one of the places that you can make it or break it. And as I said, we have got faster guys yet to come, coming tomorrow at 1 o'clock with our Pro-Ams and our pros at 4 o'clock. So please go and keep an eye on that, because we have got some incredible talent that will be fighting it. And that's right the way through Africa. A big thank you to all our sponsors as well, and also the MSA Sim Racing Workgroup members that you see currently switching through on screen for helping putting this event all together and being a part of making a bit of history out here in South Africa and in Africa, and also going and launching a bit of a positive way for Africa to get recognized in the world of sim racing at an FIA level. So Bertus Hugo's going to wait, Chevy Basson waiting, and Jude Stewart still out there on circuit. 0.5, 0.4, so it's down on his last lap time. That's not going to help him on this point. Can he make it through Crocodile? Gets a little bit unsteady. He's going to try keep his foot on the gas at this point. Just not able to get the run as much as you would like. A little bit of a tank slapper slide. Langry Racing Machine trying to get his way out of 3rd place. Will it be enough as qualifying comes to a close? Nope, that's going to put him in 3rd place, and he's going to be starting in the 2nd row. Doe Herber going to be starting right beside him. Kevin Bugh, though, looking to try and take that out. He's 0.2 up. Can he carry the pace all the way through to the start line to pick himself out of 5th? No, just not enough. Only 0.1 of a second between himself and the likes of Doe Herber. Matthew Carter puts himself into 7th, but taking away 5th place is Repsold with a 0.41.43.135 over Kevin Bugh's 1:43.160. So they're looking to really step up the pace. Matthew Carter is trying to get a lap in and sorting himself out. 0.7 up on his last lap time. Lost a lot into Ingwe. Can he carry the pace right to the end? And no, just not enough to pick himself out of 7th place. But as our session comes to a close, we're going to be taking a back to our circuit overview so you can see exactly what the beautiful Kyalami Grand Prix circuit is all about before we get right in it for the race. 90 minutes we're going to see these guys fight it out. And Jean Drepner saying, Rian is South African, just a good friend of mine. Okay, well, fair enough. Thank you. It's actually good to know these type of things, getting a little bit of insight to all the competition out there. And glad to see that support coming in. Glad to have you guys here. Should be car 8, which Weezy Cyclist is looking. It doesn't look like he's here tonight, unfortunately. One of the cars out of the race for our AM class. That being said, though, let's go and take a look at the track. So, with that being said, let's go through who is where. So, we have got our Africa Esports. This is Bertus Hugo that is on the top of the charts. He's looking to try and pull away from everyone at the start. Second to that, we have got Chevy Basson. Third place, Jude Stewart, along with Doug Herber. Ashton Repsold, followed by Kevin Bug, Matthew Carter, Lucas Joubert, Rian van der Westhuizen, John Stewart, along with Fred Alberts, Gerrit Jacobs, and ending out the field is Jordan Fabian to round out the field. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is going to be a full track formations. It will be the first full track formation for the inaugural MSA Africa Cup Esports that is happening. I mean, this is exciting. This is just incredible to see the communities coming into. And this is our AM division. They are setting the bar that will be for our Pro-Am and our pros going tomorrow and battling it out and taking a look at all the excitement out there on the grandstands. I want to know from everyone, who do you think will be able to take the win for this race? Who's going to be able to take the bragging rights home to be the first AM winner for the MSA African Cup Esports? And I've got to point out, Bertus Hugo's got the pace, but he isn't running away from the field. Basson's looking to try and get rid of that Jude Stewart as well. Doug Herber, Anton Repsold, Kevin Bug, everyone's trying to take the fight. But I want to know to everyone out there, the spectators sitting on the grandstands, watching in the present and in the future, let me know. Let those voices know. Shout it out loud. Let everyone know in the world, who do you think will be able to take it to the front? Who will take the win? And I already see Jason Farmer saying, let's go, Lucas. Going and putting in the support for Lucas Joubert, for LTR. And ready to go and shout it out. There's also support going to Team Tryhard. And that is Doug Herber that is looking to try and fight it out. He's running in 4th place. Remember, this is an FIA signed off event. So it is all on the cards. You got to get it right. Welcome to the big leagues, folks. There is no backing down. 90 minutes, which is 1 hour 30 minutes of racing, 2 mandatory pit stops as they make their way for the very first time on a formation lap, and the excitement building amongst the pits with all the drivers waiting to get involved in this fight. Now it's all about getting some heat into these tires, heat into the brakes, get yourself sorted out. You've got 2 mandatory pit stops, so how did you work your refueling? What's going to be the plan in clawing your way to the top by the end of this race? Everything is to play for. Chevy Basson running in 2nd place. You can see not going to leave too much to his shirt though. Hopping the curb a little bit, trying to get himself sorted as he enters barbecue. And just trying to slide it around to try and build as much heat into the tires as possible. So for anyone at home that's wondering, why on earth would a car want to move left to right? Why do you want to shift the car left to right? Well, think about this. Take your hands, put it together. For anyone that is at home that wants to know from a bit of a, I would say, a primary school way of understanding friction to build up heat. Put your hands together and quickly rub it up against one another. You'll feel the heat starting to build in your hands. That is friction. That's exactly what the tire is doing with the tar at this point. You want to maximize the temperature in the tires. You want to get those pressures up. You want to start getting your brakes all the way sorted as well, so you can be able to slow down, because cold brakes and these tight corners means that you're going to land off in the dirt quicker than ever. So you need to make a monster of an impact here tonight if you want to claw your way straight to the top and be able to walk away winning the AM division. Now that doesn't give you the crown, because the pros right there in the feature at 4 o'clock will be the fastest in Africa, but this is bragging rights. This is the start of it. And I can tell you, when I had a chat to a lot of these drivers that are in this race, I even had a chat to Kevin Bugh. He said, listen, I'm here to have some fun. I'm here to fight it out with my fellow African continent drivers. I want to show what I can do and really take the fight to everyone out there. And seeing the pace at the top end of the field, he said, look, I'm not quite that pace yet, but expect me next year to come back fighting, to do this right and launch my way to the top. Vivian, unfortunately though, didn't get started, so he's going to be starting in the pits, so that's going to knock him down the order. And now it is all to play for Bertus Hugo, Chevy Basson. They're going to come around Cheetah, slow the field up, 70 kilometers an hour. You're going to have to keep it there. Anything over, anything under is a drive-through penalty. That will put 3 pit stops on you. That's not what you want to have. And considering Kyalami is a circuit that is make it or break it, let's see how the drivers are going to do for the inaugural MSA African Cup Esports starting now, ladies and gentlemen. Jim, over to you to call it green, buddy, because this is your time to shine for 2024. Hold. Green, and we're racing. Biggity, booty, welcome to the race. Let's shake or bake. Bertus Hugo to the inside, trying to hold back the likes of Jude Stewart, and it does look like Chevy Basson stuck on the outside. He is going to have Jude trying to lock in that inside line, runs out a little bit wide. Repsol also trying to get a little bit of a jump, but loses out to Doug Herber. Ahead of him, side-by-side contact though, as it looks like one of the BMWs getting all out of shape, and that is Fundaveste. No, that isn't. That was Fundaveste's, and that got it out of shape there, so he eventually managed to get it back, but it did slow the drivers up ever so slightly as they fight their way through. Bertus Hugo out in the charge though. Jude Stewart right behind them, keeping a huge amount of pressure. Chevy Basson going and fighting his way out with this. Nose to tail as they make their way into the S's for the first time of the race. And it does look like everything's okay. 0.4 of a second between first, second, and third at this point. Everyone just keeping it nice and easy. Fundaveste's will be on his climb. Jude Stewart trying to go around the outside. Couldn't get it all hooked in. Chevy Basson did try and go on the inside. Couldn't get himself sorted out. Gets back on throttle as they make their way down the mine shaft. 320 kilometers an hour in these GT3 cars. And they're going to have to slam on the anchors, slow it down to roughly about 100 kilometers an hour, as Bertus Hugo taking a very tight line, runs out a little bit wide. Jude Stewart taking a bit more of an open line, tries to get himself all sorted out, protecting those tires early on, and possibly going to be looking for a single stop. Chevy Basson lying out in third place, trying to put the pressure on. Does look like Repsol going and touching the dirt as he's trying to catch up to Doug Herber, who's in fourth place. Repsol now has got pressure from Matthew Carter. Matthew right onto the back of him. These two have never done battle ever, might I point out. Not even on public servers have they come to blows with one another. Kevin Bugh also out on the charge, as it does look like Matthew Carter up on the inside of Repsol. Side by side, the McLaren goes with the Aston Martin. Looks to be all smooth there, but now they've got to try and make the way up to barbecue. Oh, Repsol understeering. Carter gets a little bit of dirt, loses out the time. Bugh, though, comes up behind him and gets past. So Bugh now trying to fight it out with Matthew Carter. Matthew just having the legs and able to pull away at this point. So a little bit of a rough time there, and I actually see a battle going on. Fundaveste isn't making his way through. He gets past John, and now on the drive to try and recover some time. Fred Alberts immediately onto the back of him. He is in the tow, trying to pull himself along, and has got Lucas Jabert right behind him. Also trying to put a huge amount of pressure onto the back of him. Back up to the sharp end of the field, though. We got Basson going and fighting out. Chevy right behind. Jude at this point is fishing, looking left and right. Oh, it goes out wide, though. Touch the wheel on the dirt. Can he keep it all together? Heading into the crocodile. Whew, nearly into the door. and got himself sorted out. Kevin Bug, though, did look like he came into blows with the likes of Jakob. So let's see if we can go back roughly about 30 seconds and see what happened with that. And that was into the mine shaft. So up at the top of Jakob. Oh, big send from Jakobs. Couldn't get it all sorted out. And Kevin saying, well, nice try. Little nudge there, but I'm going to keep going. Thanks. Appreciate it. You have fun now. So great racing on his part to try and make up some time. Back up to the sharp end of the field as we take a look at Chivy Basson, who's going side by side with Jude Stewart. Jude trying to look for the inside line over the sausage curb. Now running out a little bit wide. Does tuck in behind the likes of Chivy. Couldn't get past him just as yet. Will keep the pressure on. But that is allowing Bertus Hugo to start opening up the gap to second and third place as they are nose to tail with one another. I do see yellow flags though. And that is Kevin. Oh my heavens. What happened to him? Let's go back and see what happened to the big Mercedes. Carving his way through, does look to try and get round. Does he outbrake himself? All looking okay there. Drops a wheel in the dirt. Oh, and into the old pit wall. Smashing the front of that car. Thankfully, they do have the mechanics with a lot of spares, but that is going to drop him down the order and needing a fair amount of work on his car. So Kevin's going to get that car back in. He's going to have everyone jack it up, get some work done on it so he can get back out. Thankfully, with the 2 mandatory pit stops, that can be counted as his 1 mandatory pit stop. So he can get it out the way at an early stage. Not quite the time he wants to do, but he will have to try and get that car fixed out because it is properly broken at this point. Through Cheetah they go. Still nose to tail racing between Chivy and Jude at the moment. Jude not going to back down from the fight. Chivy immediately getting onto the throttle. He's holding that second place, but Doug Herber starting to close up the gap to them as well. And this is our closest battle out on circuit. Going down the order, Doug Herber currently in 4th place, just keeping an eye on Anton Repsol, 3.5 seconds behind. And he is in that Repsol pink Aston Martin AMR V8, hoping to make a bit of a run there. And we've also got the likes of Fred Alberts. He gets a pass and immediately zits it to Stewart and nearly has Lucas Jabert try and go for it. Jabert looking up on the inside, going to try go a little bit later on the brakes. And just can't get the legs on the Aston Martin just as yet. So he's going to keep into the toe through Sunset. And beautiful, beautiful corner that is going to fight it out. A blip down the gears just to get themselves straightened out. And you can see Lucas doing a phenomenal job at the moment, keeping a fair amount of pressure onto the back of that Aston Martin. Can't get the legs on him just as yet, but will be fighting it out all the way through. If he can keep a solid amount of pressure on his competitor, maybe, just maybe, that's going to affect the fuel stop. Kevin Bug currently in the pits. He's getting his pit stop done and dusted, and also some major repair work done to his car. Rian van der Westhuizen onto the back of Gerard Jacobs at the moment. And Gerard just trying to get a little bit of a run, as you can see Rian going and having a snap oversteer as he gets on the gas, trying to push himself that little bit more. But now I'm going to ask to the spectators out there, let's start putting on our tinfoil hats. Let's start trying to work out, when is it the time to get these pit stops out of the way? Because you got 2 mandatory pit stops you need to do. You need to get it out the way. There's no hanging around with it. You need to get it sorted out. Lucas Jabert actually going and answering that. He's going to go for an early stop and realizing that behind Fred that he's losing that little bit of time. I do apologize for a little bit of a stutter there. But he's trying everything he can to just gain a little bit of time on John just ahead of him. John trying to get a little bit later on the braking and doing everything he can as they both see Rian van der Westhuizen and Gerard, who are fighting it out amongst each other. So this may turn into a bit of a 4-car train between them. And oh, Jacobs nearly losing it as Van der Westhuizen now has the drive heading into Sunset. Can he lock it on the inside? BMW big send, no indicators. Let's go as he hooks it in. Beautiful as he fights his way around. So proper racing as they fight their way through. So let's take a look at what's happening. And we've actually got Grant Findaley, who's racing out in our Pro-Ams come tomorrow, saying an early pit stop is key and necessary at this point. He's thinking that's going to be a good idea, and that's the one thing that these drivers will be keeping an eye on, as what's going to be the advantage. Also, to everyone out there, take a look in the description. There is our live timing, so you can keep an eye out on all the action and keep an eye out on your favorite drivers. John Stewart, though, battling out with Jacobs as they break into Crocodile. Does look like Fred Albert's trying to make it a bit of a three-car battle as they take a monster dive side by side. John Stewart and Garrett Jacobs, a slight little bit of rubbing between the two, but all okay. Cheetah coming together for the likes of John. He's able to pull away. Garrett looks up on the inside, gets on the power. He is chasing it down. Fred Alberts going out very, very wide, and that is a proper run. So, for our AMs at the moment, our running order stands as such, as we just keep an eye on John, because he went venturing out very, very tight line into turn 2. That's not going to do him any favors, and gets it all squirrely. Ferrat and Fred managing to get past without too much of a hitch there. Bertus Hugo, though, lost out a little bit of time by the looks of it, and has now got Chevy Passant right behind him. This is our fight for first place in the AMs. And we have got first, second, and third, all within 0.8 of a second of one another for our AMs. And they are fighting it out tooth and nail at this point. Chevy onto the back of Bertus Hugo, does look for the inside line, backs out of it, goes for the outside line. It's going to go for a late apex through Learcorp. Hopefully get the drive down the mine shaft and get himself going. Yellow flag, though, getting kicked up for our number 3 car. Let's take a look what happened to him. And that is Matthew Carter, who is in the McLaren, and dirty drop a wheel on the dirt. Did it not all work out when he was behind Repsol and pushing as hard as he can through the S's. Too much curb, kicks with an oversteer, and thankfully able to come to a stop. Whew. Good thing on the sim that kitty litter isn't as thick as it is in real life, because you will not be pulling the car out in some amazing fashion. You will have to get the hard-working Kyalami marshals to drag you out. And a big shout out to our unsung heroes, who in the virtual world, we don't get to see them too much. They are doing our flags here in the virtual world, but a big thank you to all our marshals right through Africa and all our officials in both real world and sim racing world. So just a shout out to you guys, the unsung heroes, the ones that don't get recognized, the ones that aren't walking away with the trophy. But without you, we wouldn't be able to have the events that we're having. So to all our officials, our medics, big thank you, shout out from right here at the MSA Africa Cup Esports. Diving on the inside, though, Chevy Basson still keeping the pressure on Bertus Hugo, who actually saw for throttle, trying not to run wide. Chevy immediately keeping the pressure onto the back of him. Will look to try go around the outside through the S's. Backs out of it. Not going to get too much of a run there. That does allow Duke to come back into the fight as nose to tail for our front 3 as it stands. So all 3 looking for an opportunity. Jude trying to really send it in, looking very angry on the way in. Oh, I'll take my dad joke and leave now, because I think I'm going to get it from the Angry Racing team, saying, "Hey, come on, buddy, that was a bit low in the belt. Let's go and keep the good jokes out, not the dad jokes." As he dives up behind Chevy at this point. Chevy's losing out through the Crocodile. Just not quite getting the same drive, but they are managing to keep a good pace ahead of Doug Herber, who's running in 4th. Jude, big send on the inside. Does take a huge launch. Will it work out for him on the exit, though? Just managing to get the run. It is nose to tail in the slipstream. Does go out wide. Jude going and walking him out to the fringes of the circuit. A little bit rough there, Jude. As to back out of it, you got to give a car's width as per the rules. Side by side, they go through turn 2. Chevy going and responding and such. And, oh, Jude just going and having that snap oversteer. Going and killing out his drive. Doug Herber's saying thank you very much. Let's actually take a look and see if we can get it on board of what happened there for the likes of Jude. You could see keeping the pressure. Oh, just too early on the power. Far too early on the power, and low traction control means that rear stepped out and was not happy. That dropped him out of the fight. And should be saying, sure, at least that is done and dusted. I can focus on the battle at hand. Matthew Carter and Riem van der Rest Vestazen going and fighting out. Oh, big slide in the BM. Got it sorted out. That is how you slide a BMW M4 GT3. You don't get to see an M4 sliding too much, but if anyone wants to know how to do it, chat to Rian, who's still flicking it around. Fred Alberts and Gerrit Jacobs, though, look like they've come to blows. Let's take a look what happened there. Fred Alberts and Jacobs making their way through, and Fred trying to close down the distance. Did he outbrake himself? No! Jacobs gets himself sideways. Oh, and Fred going and having a slide in sympathy there. But Jacobs going and losing it all by himself. Going and killing off those rear tires. And we'll have to see. I mean, I think low TC and anything is a proper deep breath. And even if you're running max TC, that is just take a deep breath because you're not quite sure what the car's going to do. And Chevy gets early on the power, gets a snap oversteer, loses out a bit. Hugo's way, but now it's got Doe Gerber immediately onto the back of him. And Doe is going to try and put as much pressure onto the drive. Will he be able to get it running at this point? Doe does look for the inside line, backs out of it. Can't get the drive on Basson ahead of him. So as it stands, Bertus Hugo leading out the field with Chevy Basson, who's done the quickest lap time of the race. I just want to point that out, 1:43.097 with a full tank. Doe Gerber currently in third place. Fourth, Jude Stewart, along with Anton Repsold. When we got Matthew Carter, Rian van der Westhuizen, John Stewart, Fred Alberts, Fred got it wrong. I said Fred, and unfortunately I said Fred a little bit too early into barbecue. We saw it happen earlier with Kevin Bug, where it just gets the rear wheel out on the grass, tips the whole car around, and lands up into the wall. But that does allow Jordan Vivian to manage to gain a position. So let's take a look through it. What happened to the Aston Martin? Yep, dropped a wheel into the pit wall. Oh, light hit, very light, but just enough to cause some damage to the vehicle. He will be feeling it. But Jordan Vivian, the father and son racing, saying, "Look, I'm happy with this. I'm going to keep going. Thanks for the position at this point." It's a proper run. Weezy Cyclist saying, "Oil on the track." Well, I don't think we can, but the way that sims are being developed nowadays, they're getting more and more towards a realistic point of view, incorporating rain, the way marbles work. That is just the bits of dirt and rubber that can be picked up by the tires over time. I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly they start saying, this is what oil looks like on the circuit, and we have a bit of a problem. So it's, I think it's to come. Mark those words. With how we're trying to get more and more into the real world of racing and showing off in a simulator perspective, this is a phenomenal thing. I've got to point out, I really love that we managed to get drivers right across Africa to come and race with us in this race. Now, this is just our AM division. Tomorrow, we will have our Pro-Am starting at 1 o'clock. That is a 35 car field. Same as this, 90 minutes, 1 hour and 30 minutes of racing, 2 mandatory pit stops, and there will be a Pro-Am winner. But the feature race, the one that everyone was going for, that spent the last 2 weeks in the grading service, maximizing the points, will be fighting it out. We have got entries that many people will know over time. Oh, John Stewart going in all types are wrong and rejoining the circuit. So, he's lost it through the S's there. Not going to be too much of a fun time for him. But a couple of entries that we've got running for our pros at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Do not look away from that. We have got Charles Wilkin. We have got Jordan Sherritt joining in. Tariq Adam. We've got Cody Sherritt and so much more that are going out and racing. And also, we've got our Pro-Ams out there. We'll see the likes of Rian Draper going and having a bit of fun. And he's going and supporting the likes of Rian van der Westhuizen. We've got so much racing and so much talent from across Africa, all doing to battle it out for 2024. And with this being the inaugural event, we will see more and more entries over time. It's Jacobs loses it into the wall. Cheetah has claimed the victim. Jacobs losing the rear. Let's go on board with him and see how it all worked out. This Ferrari 296 not working in his favor. Third gear, too much pace. Oh, understeer cross, and that's all she wrote, folks. Getting a solid knock, parking it in front of the pit board and having to wait to get himself turned around and get driving once again. So he's going to get a bit of work needed on that car, and I think he's going to maintain his pace, hoping to get it sorted out. So, a couple of things going on that we need to talk about. Lucas Joubert and Kevin Bugh, so far, the only ones who have completed their first pit stops as it stands out on the circuit. So let's see how that's going to work out for them, climbing through the order. Kevin Bugh, though, going and representing and having a huge amount of fun while doing so. Honestly, putting a phenomenal charge to climb up through the ranks. So Kevin hoping that it will be enough to get himself up to the top of the charts. And after a nasty impact with the wall, he's having to recover some time. Battle out for first place, though, goes to Chevy Bisson and the likes of Bertus Hugo. These two still nose to tail, and I'm sure Bertus at this point is waiting for Chevy to make a mistake. Chevy at the other point is going, Bertus, can you make a mistake? I need to get round you, buddy, because I need the time. Matthew Carter has just taken away my fastest lap time of the race. Matthew Carter has successfully done a 1:42.8. These two, on the other hand, Bertus Hugo on his last lap was a 1:44.3. Chevy Bisson was quicker with a 1:43.6 as he tries to gain a little bit more room to get by. So, we've got some exciting racing. Tomorrow, in our prams, we have got Adrian Null, all the way out from Namibia. Chandra Drepner, all the way out from Namibia. Kevin Bugh, who is all the way out from Madagascar, baby. So he knows how to move it. So Kevin Bugh is going to keep on moving it and having a huge amount of fun. All the way out from Madagascar. The others from South Africa going and fighting it out. Once again, this is an event that is all about going and bringing all the best that Africa has to offer, and this will not be the last. Chevy pulling into the pits. He's going to go and do a bit of an early pit stop. You'll see 50 kilometers an hour, and they will have to keep going. Doug Herber will take second place. Bertus Hugo will try and keep into the fight, and that is going to allow Jude Stewart to come back into the fray of things. He's running in third place, and Repsol, we have been keeping an eye on Repsol at the moment. Slowly but surely starting to gain a bit of time, and Repsol Racing has been around for many years, actually generations at this point. The Repsol family has been racing around Africa and really showing off the talents, now venturing into the world of sim racing and showing off what they can do right here for the MSA Africa Cup Esports. Matthew Carter going and gaining a position. And it does look like Lucas Joubert. No, what on earth happened? That is into Crocodile. Joubert getting it all types of wrong. Let's see from our cameras if we can see what went wrong. Down the mine shaft. Hard on the brakes. Did it get a snap oversteer? Oh, grass snaps. Too slow. Up. Just catching the wall, and our marshals, our KMA marshals out there going and giving the flags. Big thank you out to them. Gerard Jacobs, though, oh man, in the wars, going and getting a massive shunt. And that must have been Cheetah once again. Oh, a little bit out of shape into Crocodile. But was Cheetah the one that played it all in? Oh, snap oversteer once again. He's trying to battle it out. Gets the grass into the wall. Thankfully, could get it into the pits. But if you want to talk about a race that's going from bad to worse, he's starting to feel it. And that will allow Kevin Bugh, who went and had the first crash, now up a position. The Madagascan going to fight it out and keep on going. I love that there is no quit. I really love that the drivers, despite incidents that they have experienced, a little bit of unsteadiness around the circuit, all that they're going to do is focus on getting the charge a little bit further up the road. They want to get this across the line no matter the cost. take a look, though. Big thank you once again to all our sponsors. We got RaceFace.Pro supplying the servers. Oh, Lucas getting it wrong. And that's through the S's. That is the first S that he got it all kinds of wrong. Sliding around, tries to bring it back. Rear stepping out. This is the first S. And second S. No, this is actually heading up to Leeuwkop by the looks of it. Yep, this is Leeuwkop. Braking late. And that Ferrari just getting a tank slapper, twisting around, and unfortunately stopping on the circuit. So he's having to try and bring that car back. Lucas Joubert just not having the ideal race he wants at this point. And once again, the rear snapping out. Those tires just not agreeing with him at this point, and will drop him down the order as it goes on. I think he's taken all the life out of those tires and will be focusing on the charge as they fight their way through. And I just once again, a big thank you to all the sim racing communities going and putting it together with the MSA Sim Racing Work Group. The MSA Sim Racing Work Group actually made up of all the communities going and fighting it out. And is Dave Repsold his grandfather? I do think so. Memory serves me right. Dave is the grandfather, and Dave comes from a very, very long pedigree of winnings through it all. And I do think Dave is the grandfather. I cannot confirm it, but what I'll do, Jandre, is we'll find out, and we'll actually let everyone know, because it's worth going and pointing out different generations coming into the fray of things. Also, our new generation. But Hugo up on the inside of Gerrit. He goes and gets past without too much problem. Gerrit just allowing our leaders to come through. Dougherber also with no issues there. And the rule states that it is up to the back marker to hold a predictable line, and it's for the quicker car to go and find a safe passing way. The back marker is not allowed to jockey for position, move out of, go move around and try and defend the position. He has to maintain a predictable line, and that is what Gerrit Jacobs is doing. Lucas Joubert, though, still in the pits, so he is waiting to get himself sorted. I think he's towed back to pits, but that is going to drop him down the order. Gerrit Boog, though, Kevin Boog, more than happy to go and keep up the position, starting to make up a bit of time. And he will have to keep an eye on Jacobs trying to close down the distance between him. Bertus Hugo still out on circuit. Dougherber in second place. Jude Stewart in third. Ashton Repsold in fourth. Fifth, Matthew Carter. Rian van der Westhuizen in sixth. Seventh is John Stewart. Julian Vivian, though, for the Vivian team starting to lose it out there. The fathers and sons getting it all types of wrong. Let's see if we can try and figure out what happened to the BMW. One of these it's one of the most stable cars you can drive in ACC. It's just very forgiving. It's like what the old Aston used to be, and any new person can jump out of this. So let's see. It's getting it all fighting out. Goes out wide, drops a wheel in the dirt. That's towards the wall. That is some serious damage, and well, I think a little bit of emotional damage coming into it for any memesters out there. That's it. Dave Repsold is Ashton's uncle. Thank you, Candy. I really, really appreciate for that information. So there we go. Dave is actually the uncle, and Candy going and pointing out there. So big thank you to Grad to have had this. Still the grandfather of racing. That is no question. You go and ask anyone in the world of racing, doesn't matter where you are in Africa, they do know the name. But it's like many of the drivers out here, new and old, that are cementing their legacies, not going and riding the coattails of, well, my grandfather did this, but no, instead they are making their own, and they are making their own way through history. And tonight is the start of history for Africa Sim Racing, and having all the different communities coming into it. So big thank you, Candy, really appreciate it, and good to see how this is going to be fighting out. Kevin Bug now up to 10th position as Vivian getting some work done onto that car. So Jordan now waiting it out, and Kevin, the Madagascar, going and still moving it at this point is going to be fighting out. Hour and 2 minutes left of the race, though. Lucas has completed all his pit stops. Now, just to go and add a little bit of flavor to this, because it's something we need to talk about, Chevy Basson has done his pit stop. He's lying in 8th position, currently 16 seconds behind John Stewart, who is out there fighting it towards the front of the pack. And I do want to note that these cars can do roughly about an hour, 1 minute on a completely full tank. That is the general expectation. Now you're taking a look at a couple of drivers that still need to stop, like Bertus Hugo, Doug Herbert, Jude Stewart, along with Repsold, Matthew Carter, who's got the fastest lap time of the race, Ruan van der Westhuizen, John Stewart also out there trying to keep himself together. He's in 7th position. And you have got Alberts needing to do his 2 pit stops. And one person that started in the pits, who's now just getting his car sorted out, Jordan Vivian, that missed out the start, has now got to try and make his way through. And it doesn't look like he put fuel in the tank, or was slightly ajar from the pit box, and that's why it didn't count. So he has to be completely within the lines of the pit box, and also put at least 1 liter of fuel in the tank to get it sorted out. Repsold into the pits. That was right onto the back of the Angry Racing Jude Stewart at this point, fighting his way through. And we'll have to see how it all launches out. The guys fighting their way through the battle. Remember, to enter into the MSA Africa Esports Cup, they had to have done hot lap qualifying, which was 10 consecutive laps that needed to be done that were valid to get it all sorted out. That was the grading conditions, along with getting an entry in on the Sim Racing website, brought to you by Motorsport South Africa. You can find that in the description as well. We do have quite a few championships under the MSA umbrella for sim racing that you guys are more than welcome to enter. Doesn't matter where you are from Africa, you can go and be a part of those communities, go racing and go fighting out for titles, because this is one of the main events. There may be more to come through the year, and with working with everyone around the world, all the different ASNs coming together under the initiative by FIA to bring sim racing to the homes, and to go and formalize it to a point that we will be crowning a world champion in the future by FIA. So keep an eye out on all the social medias for Motorsport South Africa and your local ASNs. Also keep an eye out with FIA, because anything can happen, and with the history being made, prepared to see some champions, and I can't wait to see it. Jude Stewart into the pits now. The Angry Racing pulling into the pits. Bertus Hugo still out there. Doug Herbert has done his pit stop. So now Matthew Carter will be taking that 2nd place away and getting as close as he can. He's behind Lucas Jabir at the moment, the LTR Racing Machine, and the ZRC. Now currently in 2nd place. Will have to take a look at what's going to work for him to claw his way to victory. This is our AM division as Ruan van der Westhuizen pulls into the pits, and I think that Jean-Andre Drapno went and ran over to the pit wall, stuck his hat out and said, "Come on, get in, we need you into the pits now to get sorted out." And Jude Stewart into the pits. It does look like John Stewart has got into the pits. So John now getting himself sorted out as well, getting that mandatory pit stop. So Dirk Herbert up into 3rd place. Repsold now into 4th. And Ashton Repsold going and creating a legacy away from the usual family side of things. Stop go 30-second penalty though for Stewart. That's Jude Stewart. The Angry Racing just getting off the button, off the pit limiter a little too early. And oh man, how to do that? You're either going and coming off the pit you disengaging the pit limiter too early, and that will give you 30 seconds, or in these cars, soon as you engage 2nd gear, it actually turns off your pit limiter, so it's not to hurt the motor. Unfortunately, that does suffer a 30-second penalty, and on his next stop, he will have to serve that stop-go 30-second penalty. So this is a lot to keep an eye out for. Dirk van der Merwe is in the pits. Dirk was a little bit late to the show, but has made it regardless. So van der Merwe has joined the race, and he is going to stick it out to the end. Honestly, Dirk, if you're watching this in the future, which I know you will, hopefully you're not watching it right now because you're going to be racing soon, bravo to you. Seriously, bravo to you. I'm glad to see that you managed to get the car in, up and down off those jacks, and he will be out and racing. That's one thing I want to see. I want to see drivers that, despite everything, show what we're all about here in Africa. Because in Africa, no matter where you are, we never give up. In the face of adversity, we keep going. In the face of challenges, we push through. In the face of a guys telling us we can't do it, well, we can do anything we put our minds to, no matter where you are. And I know everyone out there in the grandstands that is watching here tonight, all the people in the chat, I love calling you guys in the grandstands because that's what it is. It's grandstands for sim racing. You guys will agree as well. No matter what, it is going to be a proper run. He's a cyclist saying the entry is a bit tight. I think he overcooked it into the pits. That is very true. It is a very tight pit lane. I've seen many guys get it wrong. I've got it personally wrong where I've taken it too tight and knocked the side of the car. I've actually had a teammate that managed to hit the tires that is centered of the pits. Don't know how, but he managed to square the pit lane. Oh no! Jordan having a bit of a problem there. Let's see if we can go back and see what happened. Oh no, it looks like Jordan trying to pull himself out. He clouted the wall a couple of times. And yeah, it looks like, unfortunately, too much damage to that car as we're going back in a minute in the pit stop. But it looks like he may have some damage that is terminal at the moment. I'm in for the speed lane. Yes, well, it's 50 k's an hour. I mean, you are slowing down the car at a rate of knots. You're coming at a roughly about 160 kilometers an hour. You've got to really stand on the anchors to get it all in and try and get the car in and out and racing. So let's see how it's going to go. So this is back to our race at the moment. We have got 12 cars on circuit. It looks like Vivian went and left, and Dirk van der Merwe unfortunately also retiring the car. If anyone has comms with van der Merwe, tell him to get back that car on the track. We want to see him racing. This is Rian van der Westhuizen though, getting it all sorts of out of shape, and getting some reports that he refuel? Did he run out of juice? Oh no! Rian van der Westhuizen has emptied the tank and just couldn't roll it back to pits. Van der Westhuizen has run out of juice and is trying everything he can, but he can get that car towed back to pits. Oh no, a little miscalculation. Yellow flags ablaze from our Kyalami marshals to warn of a BMW stopped on the side of the circuit. Repsol, a massive dive on Chivy. He tries to come back in through Crocodile. They are side by side into Cheetah. Chivy just getting it hooked up ahead of Repsol, but they are fighting a tooth and nail at this moment. They are fighting it out for 4th and 5th. I mean, this is just a proper run, and unfortunately some heartache moments that can really just tear at you. Oh my heavens. No, that is absolutely gutting for our drivers out there. Oh man, to have those type of incidents happen, it's one of those things. Anton Repsol and Chivibason still going to be fighting out with one another as they do everything they can to keep up the charge. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to keep an eye on all the action as they fight their way through. 52 minutes to go. And let's see how it's going to work. I am going to say, for the drivers that are in IM, that haven't been able to get this far into the race, that have retired out of it. One, I'd personally like to see you guys out on the track. But two, you'll see in the Discord where all the information is. Go to where it says voice channels. Go to commentary waiting. I'd love to have an interview with our drivers that have been participating and showing a bit of support out here for this amazing event. So to all the AM drivers that started this race that isn't here, guys, go to the commentary wing. Let's get you a bit of showtime right here on the Motorsport South Africa channel. And to everyone out watching it currently, make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that bell icon, and hit the like as well with enjoying this race, because we got so much coming this weekend. Saturday, we're crowning top of the top. Matthew Carter into the pits. He's getting his pit stop sorted out, and it does look like a bit of fuel being put into Rian van der Westhuizen's car. Unfortunately, as being pointed, it's not quite electric at this moment, and fuel's a little bit expensive. You gotta try and lean off the throttle here and there to ensure that you can carry your way through. But this is the risks that you take. You, as a sim racer, as a racer in total, you're working down your calculations to the 0.1 of a liter. You know, what happens if I can just get that extra lap or two out of this tank? What can I do to just ensure I can keep up the pace? Bert's Hugo, though, currently leading the charge with Doug Herber in second place, Basson in third place, Repsold in fourth, and then Matthew Carter's pitted, so Fred Alberts will be taking that fifth place spot. Matthew Carter currently running in sixth with Kevin Bug. Now, Kevin has been on the charge. Remember, he fell back into 14th position. He is now up into 7th. The Mercedes fighting it out tooth and nail. The Madagascan doing what he does best, and that is to keep going no matter what. Man, oh man, that is just awesome. But he has got John Stewart right behind him. John is going to keep a fair amount of pressure onto the back of him at the moment. 1.8 seconds. This is our closest battle currently on circuit for the racing. That being said, this is a 1 hour 30 minute race. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock we'll have our Pro-Ams doing their race, so tune in at 1 o'clock to see our Pro-Ams 35 car grid absolutely stacked. Then we have got our feature race, which is running at the top of the charts, where we've got some of the fastest drivers in Africa that are doing everything they can. Taking a look, Ron Findaley saying, Fred, it's not your real car, you can push it. I love it. I love it. We're just going and giving a little bit of gears, a little bit of spice there, keeping it PG-13. I want a big shout out to everyone out in the spectator stands out there in the comments. Thank you for keeping it civil, keeping it calm, and just enjoying the racing at hand, because that's what we are. We love seeing racing, whether it's out in real life, whether it's virtual. We're getting to see all the action out there. And I know one person that is going to be kicking himself from here and high water. But I do want to point out that Rian van der Westhuizen, you towed back to pits. That doesn't count as his pit stop. He's still got 2 to go, and he will see that on his monitor as well. So does the entire team, saying, buddy, you got to line it in the box. You got to get it in the pits. You got to drive it in there. So if I was for Rian van der Westhuizen now, it's just get it in, get those pit stops, a quick 1-2 out the way, and carry on the race, because only one that has done all their pit stops is Lucas at the moment. So if Van der Westhuizen can just get that 2 stops out the way, he can focus on the race, get in the momentum, and keep pushing. So we'll have to see how that's going to work out. But at the moment, Lucas Jabir is leading out with everyone that's completed their pit stops in this race. for our AM division. Fred Alberts out ahead of Matthew Carter. Fred going to give it everything he's got, and he's being told push it, push it, push it at this point. No backing down. Never give up, never back down sort of fight. And now Matthew Carter into the toe, pushing as hard as he can to try and bring that McLaren across and get a position back on Fred Alberts. And these two have actually done battle with one another once before, far as to my memory serves, in the world of Logistical Nightmare Racing, which is one of our MSA work group members and part of the championships that are running a championship. Our associate, one of our MSA associates right here in South Africa, Logistical Nightmare Racing and Zodiac Racing, going and fighting out with these two. So great to see some representation, not only from our local South Africans, but also outside of Africa. The guys having a huge amount of fun. Nose to tail, closest battle on circuit for 5th and 6th at the moment. The Aston Martin AMR V8 Vantage doing everything he can to keep ahead of the McLaren 720S Evo 2 of Matthew Carter. So Fred's really got to get it all the way out. And Bert Hugo completing his pit stop, so he drops down as Dirk Herbert comes past and says thank you very much on that one. And Chevy Basson just getting ahead of Bertus Hugo. So the undercut worked. Now it is time for a race. This is going to be phenomenal. Taking a look over to the grandstands. How many cars started the race for the AMs? Well, we had 14 start the race this evening for our AMs. Tomorrow we got 35, which is our Pro-Ams, and then our Pros have 35 as well. That is based on the grading that was done in the 2 weeks that the drivers needed to get sorted out. Fred Alberts, though, he goes and lands off getting a yellow flag. So what happened to Fred Alberts? Let's see if we can go back rough amount and see what happened to the Aston Martin, because that allowed Matthew Carter to get by. Closing down the distance little by little as they go. And it does look like Fred Alberts gives a position back to Matthew Carter. So just slows down a little bit. Says, Matthew, you go. Got a little bit more pace in me, and let's focus on the charge. Kevin Bugh fighting out with Stuart. And John getting the run over Kevin at this point. Running out a little bit wide. Kevin's going to keep on the gas and try and fight it out between them. Nose to tail, Mercedes versus Ferrari. Ooh, this sounds very familiar. Kevin Bugh all the way out from Madagascar versus John Stewart all the way out from South Africa. Racing right here. Gets a tank slapper though. Into the wall. John has lost it. John has lost it. Kevin waving goodbye. Jude also saying cheerio, buddy. I'm going to get going as they fight their way through. John now down the order will have Carroll trying to unlap himself, so this is going to be a proper one. Wheezy going and also shouting out to Fred, saying, Fred, stop being so nice. You don't have to be right, said Fred. You don't have to be a nice, said Fred. You know, you don't have to have, you're my mate. You can just go and race at this point. I mean, you can just see how you guys out there in the grandstands coming alive, supporting our AM division that is racing tonight. I can't wait to see how it builds over the course of the weekend, because Saturday we got our Pro-Am and our Pro, and both with full fields of 35 cars with the fastest drivers in Africa that have done qualifying. They've gone through the grading, and I could tell you that at the top of the charts, the one that's leading the grading at the top, that's got so much to play for, we got Jordan Sherritt to go and fight it out. And for anyone that doesn't know the name, go and Google it, because you'll find out he's done quite a bit. He is racing for it. Paul Herber, why is the Ferraris losing the rear so much? Well, it's because you struggle to hold on to these bucking Broncos as they move around. The Stallions are moving and doing everything that they can. So proper run for them. I think low TC comes into it. Jason Farmer saying a shout out to SACO, South African Racing Community Online. That is one of the communities here in South Africa. And yeah, shout out to them, because we do have a couple of drivers out from them. Lucas Joubert actually being one of the drivers from them, the LTR Racing, and was also, and I just want to correct me if I'm wrong on this one, Jason, you're racing in Pro-Am. LTR was started by SACO, if I'm correct on this one. It's just absolutely proper stuff. Dirk Herber leading the charts, with Chevy Basson right behind him, pushing as hard as he can, getting into the toe, and really trying to make this work. Bertus Hugo, though, what has happened to the Aston? Because he's pulled the handbrake up and is now sliding his way around, doing everything he can to try and close down on the Ferrari and Porsche ahead of him. And at the moment, we have got three different makes in the top three: Porsche, Ferrari, Aston Martin. Anton Repsold, who's out in fourth place. Aston Repsold, I do apologize, that's Aston Repsold in fourth place in the Repsold pink, going and showing off what he can do. He's trying to keep ahead of Matthew Carter, who is now making his way through. So this is going into a proper fight. We have got Jan Bego Krobler, who is racing in our pros, who's giving a bit of insight of what may be happening with the Ferraris. Is they may be running too much brake bias to the rear that can make them unsteady, because that is a race that we've got to talk about, is how these cars develop. You're slowly adjusting your brake bias, you're slowly adjusting your well, just pretty much everything that goes into it. Brake bias, GC, along with your ABS, to make sure that you come out on top. Fred Alberts, though, coming out of the pits, so he's getting it sorted. Kevin Bug has now completed all his pit stops. Ruan Heineke saying yes, LTR is a collaboration with SACO, so that is good to see. SACO did not start SACO. Philip Van Zyl and Ira Marie started SACO. And Dylan Hall. And Dylan Hall is one of the guys. Mr. Murray, I do want to add out to there. Far as my memory goes with it, but I've got a memory of a goldfish. I like to see food, and that's pretty much it. I swim around in a circle and get lost between my own tails. But side by side, that people aren't getting lost, is Chevy Basson and Dirk Herber going side by side up through Leeuwkop. Basson just not getting the drive. He tries to tuck in underneath, just can't get the drive. That rear stepping out just underneath him and loses out the drive to Dirk Herber. But you can see fighting tooth and nail at this point. Both of them have completed one of their two mandatory pit stops. Kevin Bug has completed all these pit stops, and Lucas Joubert has completed all these pit stops. So those are the two drivers to keep an eye out of how far can they climb the ranks. First place, though, still up for contention. Dirk Herber and Basson still fighting out. Chevy trying to get into that inside line and really gives it everything he can. Iri Murray saying LTR is luxury time racing. Thank you. It was bugging the living daylights out of me because I knew it stood for something. It's like THT. It's Team Heat Together. Or the likes of LNR, Logistical Nightmare Racing, or even what we're seeing out here, TTR, Team Tryhard, TTHR, Team Tryhard Racing, which Dirk Herber's a part of. It does stand for something, so it's good to have that bit of information. Thank you very much. And I do know that there is a couple of your drivers that are racing tomorrow in the Pro-Am and in the Pro. So, battle for first place. Got to keep an eye on this, because who's going to pull the trigger first? You've got 38 minutes to go in this race, and it's make it or break it for the drivers. Where is the pit stop going to lie? Now, we've seen drivers take it roughly to about the 20-minute mark or to the 15-minute mark at this stage of the race. Generally, for 19 minutes, that's over history that I've been commentating on. That has been the mark that guys go for. The last 20 minutes of the race to get a splash and dash, a quick in and out of the pits, and get going. I do want to point out, though, time in the pits. Dirk Herber on his first pit stop spent 20 seconds in the pits. Chevy Basson spends 36 seconds in the pits. And he pulls into the pits to get it sorted out. So let's see if he's going to cut that pit stop time down. It's roughly about 30 seconds to get it sorted, 33 seconds to get it sorted out. Bertus Hugo taking the second place. Will Repsol also be doing the same? Yes, Repsol will be coming by. And looking at everyone's pit stop times, it does look like majority of the cars did take a fresh set of tires. How they're going. So there is no pit window, and that is for simplicity's sake. There isn't a pit window for racing in the MSA African Cup, the Africa Cup Esports. There isn't a pit window to go for, but you have to pit between the checkered flag and before the at the start of the green flag and before the checkered flag comes out. You have to get yourself in the box for that. So if you can run it a little bit late, you can get an advantage. But your competition will be doing exactly the same, and that's going to change it out. Fred Alberts, though, being all too kind once again, side by side with Kevin Bugh, and Kevin going and saying, I like to move it, moves himself into 8th place ahead of Fred Alberts. That Aston Martin just not having the legs on the big Mercedes that came barreling his way through. Let's go back about 30 seconds and take a look from Kevin Bugh's point of view. This is through barbecue, second gear, high second, into third. Fred going out wide. Does look like he came off a throttle there, and that allows our Madagascan to get up on the inside, holds third gear, and carries the charge off at this point. So he's done a good enough job to move his way up through the order and is on a constant charge. He's now managed to open up a 3-second gap to the likes of Fred Alberts behind him, and it does look like that is Van der Westhuizen who's making up some time as well, still needing to do the mandatory pit stops. So he has to get it within the pit box. He has to put a litre of fuel in. So for the team out there, just remind him that's what he needs to do. Let's go through our running order at the moment, though. Doug Herbert currently leading out in first place. Second goes to Bertus Hugo. Aston Repsol in third. Matthew Carter in fourth. Chevy Basson in fifth place. Jude Stewart in sixth. Seventh place goes to John Stewart at the moment. Kevin Bugh out in the front, along with Fred Alberts in ninth position. 10th is Gerard Jacobs, along with Lucas Joubert and Ruan van der Westhuizen rounding out our field tonight. We've had 2 retirements so far due to massive crashes and unfortunately just not making the grid at the start. So we did have unfortunate circumstances that took 2 drivers out of it, but once again, I want to extend the invite to the drivers that were racing at the start that have fallen away. Head over to the voice channels, go to the commentary waiting channel, and just wait there. We'll bring you in, come and have a chat with you, because it's always good to chat to the guys and get a bit of insight. Here Jacobs now pulling into the pits, getting himself sorted out for his final pit stop and getting it out of the way. 33 minutes to go, ladies and gentlemen. Still on the line, but a bit of a mix going in as Repsol now into the pits, 50-kilometer mark. I do want to point out that little box that you saw, that little white lines that is at the start of the pit lane. Go and watch any of these GT3 cars in real life. Go and watch any of the cars that have to do pit stops. That little start of the white line, that little box, you'll see cars traveling at about 120 kilometers an hour, 110 kilometers an hour, slam onto the pit limiter, and that will slow them down within 50 meters. If you want to go and see how big your brakes are, 50 kilometers from 110 is no easy joke to do. And you have that little box. You cross the white line, that's it. You've overcooked it. You get a stop-go 30-second penalty, which we've already seen out tonight. And Fred, once again, going and allowing a bit of room, giving an ample amount of room to the drivers. Matthew Carter saying, well, thank you very much on that one. I'm running a third at the moment. But I will not go and complain about going and getting a free run passes. So it's nice to see the respect that has come in with the racers. Jude Stewart of the Angry Racing team now pulling into the pit box as well. But a shout out to all the sim racers out there, to all the drivers. The respect being shown on track is immense. And that is one thing we love to see, because in a day and age where we battle with having that sort of stuff happen out here in some of the hardest competition, the feisty competition that we have, going for positions, there's still respect among sim racers, amongst drivers, and I tip my hat off to everyone doing that. So for everyone that's the spectators, shout out. You have a shout out to it. And I want to know, for everyone that's out there spectating, that's watching the race this evening, let me know if you're racing. Let me know if you're racing tomorrow and where you're racing. Go, and I want to see everyone there, because I see Tennis Buerta, I see Johan Krobler, I see Michael Schultz. I want you guys to put out there, whether you're racing in Pro or Pro-Am, shout it out to everyone watching, because this is going out not only here in Motorsport South Africa, it's going out to right through Africa, but more importantly, this is for the whole world to see. This is going to be a fight of note. Jude Stewart getting side by side with Kevin as they fight it out. So Kevin managing to just maintain a bit of pace, but it looks like Jude getting the upper hand and starting to run around. So Jude Stewart has completed all his pit stops. Now Kevin and him are fighting for position. That's it. But to everyone out there, let's see. I want to see who's racing in Pro, who's racing in Pro-Am. Jason Farmer saying Pro tomorrow. Let's go. Rob van Heerden saying Pro-Am. Grant Frindaley saying Pro-Am. We have got drivers that are watching our AMs tonight, that are going and supporting their friends, going and supporting fellow Africans in this fight. And tomorrow we will have a 35 car grid going and racing for our Pro-Ams. And in our feature race, we have got the fastest of the fast, the top of the top, that will claw it out in an immense battle. Only one can walk away calling themselves the MSA African Cup Esports champion. And that is a title that is nothing to just slack off. That is a title that only one driver will be able to hold. It's only one title that will be recognized in 2024 at the moment, for that is called the MSA African Cup Esports. That is recognized by the ASNs, it's recognized by FIA. So I want to see the guys going and racing out there, putting their heart and soul into it. And even if you're not a top runner, if you're at the back of the field, if you're enjoying yourself, I want to see you guys come across that line and support. I want to see 35 cars start, 35 finish. I want to see every single person go and charge their way to the top, because our AMs right now are putting on a fantastic show. And if you don't believe me, take a look at Jude Stewart and Kevin Bugh, who are fighting out the Angry Racing team, taking on the Madagascar, the only representative from Madagascar, who is taking on the South Africans and saying, listen buddy, I ain't fighting, I ain't backing down from this. In Madagascar, we take the fight to you guys, we show you what we can do. And that's exactly what they're doing tonight. And Kevin Bugh has got his entire country of Madagascar behind him, supporting him and saying, go for the pass. Doug Herber pulling into the pits. That's going to allow Bertus Hugo to take the pole spot at the moment. 28 minutes to go. Matthew Carter trying to get down. He wants to get ahead of Doug Herber to try and lock down that second place. But at the moment, Doe will be completing all his pit stops, so he will have to keep an eye on Shivi Basson, who is also trying to carve his way through down the mine shaft out of Leerkorp, and will be going as a fight. Grant Findaley saying, come on, the Lotus Register. That is true. That is actually been around for many, many years. If I remember correctly, the Lotus Register is one of the oldest categories that has been around in motorsport in South Africa. Not sure about the rest of Africa, but far as I'm aware, they're one of the older ones that have been around. Actually starting out, the Lotus Register, or the Lotus Challenge, that started racing a little bit more competitively and is part of the Lotus Register, has some of the most close racing that you can get. But the Lotus Register is for anyone that just has a love for Lotus. Really has a love for the Lotus 7, the Lotus Exige, the Lotus Lease. I mean, you can go through all the many years. There's even Lotus single-seaters that are on that very same register. So Grant, thank you very much for pointing that out. I love to see it. I love to have this information as we're watching the guys doing a proper run. This is going to be a proper chase, and with the amount of racing going on just in our AMs, if this doesn't get you fired up for everything, and Grant saying Fred actually drives. So Fred Alberts over here actually drives for the Lotus Challenge, and that is awesome to see. I do be karting on Sunday coming from Carl Fisham. So Carl's also giving a bit of insight to what's happening in motorsport in the real world. But I want to go and point out the big thing that's happening this weekend that you guys can go see. If you head over to at South Africa, SWAT Corps is even being live streamed out there because why not? It's the best thing to do. We do have the Rock Africa Karting Cup. That is, that Karting Cup that's happening out at SWAT Corps. Go and tune into that. Big thank you to them. They are going and fighting it out, and also will be having a TV out there that the guys get to watch the pro-ams and the pros racing. Black Ribbon's going to be out there showing off that from the MSA perspective. Big thank you to everyone within the working group as well as our sponsors cycle through, but more importantly, a big shout out to Motorsport South Africa and FIA, also to the likes of SASCOC, the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. I mean, it's just fantastic. And also, the biggest shout out has to go out to all the ASNs up through Africa that is supporting all their drivers out there and really saying, let's make this happen. Let's make this a yearly thing, and let's bring the best of the best to fight it out. Because let's be honest, guys, if you want some of the top drivers in the world, doesn't matter whether it's in virtual, doesn't matter whether it is in real life. If you want some of the best drivers, don't look anywhere but Africa holds it at the moment, because we are currently setting the pace to the rest of the world. So to all of the Africa countries that are running the way through, that are supporting, and big shout out to you guys, because we have the best of the best. 24 minutes ago, Bert's Hugo currently leading the charge. Matthew Carter in second place, Doe Herber in third. Doe has completed all his pit stops. He's 12 seconds ahead of Chevy Besson. And currently the lap times, Chevy's running about the same lap times as Doe Herber. He's trying to close it in, reel it slowly but surely, but it's not working. Anton Repsold, on the other hand, he's behind Fred at the moment. Right there, Fred, going to be dealing with Repsold, and will be giving him a little bit of room down the mine shaft. Doesn't want to be too much on the inside because it does make the corner rather tricky for yourself. So this is going to be a proper run. Jude Stewart of the Angry Racing currently in 6th place, and Kevin Bug immediately onto the back of him, and that is our Madagascan contingent coming over and having a bit of fun and showing off what they can do out in Madagascar. I can't wait to have more Madagascans racing. I want to see more people from Madagascar coming and joining in. Same as more people from Namibia joining in and getting into this. You know what? Actually, I'll put the challenge out to everyone out there. Head over to the Madagascan side. Head over to the Namibian side. Go and join their racing. Go and see what they're doing. And let's see if we can do well on their side. Because they've come to Kyalami. They come to South Africa to fight it out. Well, I think the challenge, we go out and take them on their own soil. So for everyone out there that's up for that challenge, I want to see it out in the grandstands. Who wants to see right through Africa the drivers take each other on to go and join up with all the other ASNs and go and racing in their championships and go and fight it out to see who can claw their way to victory? Not only will this become a yearly thing, but I want to see championships, this intermingling that we have in Africa. Jude Stewart, though, going a little bit wide. Kevin Bug now right onto the back of him, is fighting his way through. And now Kevin onto the back of Jude, 0.4 of a second. Jude starting to feel the tyres walking off. Oh, Kevin just outbraking himself into Ingwe. Will lose the drive. Now getting into the toe. Will pull himself along. And it does look like Jude doing enough in the Ferrari just to try and open up the distance. Kevin will need to try and figure out what can he do. to try close the distance at this point. Not able to get it. The AKKA ASP team going and fighting it out. Really getting into the toe. Kevin hoping that it is going to be a proper run. This is going to be a charge out. Bertus Hugo, though. Yellow flags did come out for Bertus Hugo, who's currently leading. What happened there, Bertus? You're leading the run. You got one pit stop to go. Did you bottle it? Did the pressure get to you? Let's find out through the first S. All looking okay. Second S. Oh, dropping wheel on the dirt. Having to just straighten it out. No, and a slight nudge on the wall. Bottled it. Bertus Hugo going and bottling it a little bit there, and it is a proper run through it all, and lots of excitement going through. Jude Stewart now dealing with Kevin Buick. This is our closest battle on the run. The drivers focusing on the charge, and I'll just taking a look over to the grandstands. I'll see that we've got some questions saying, hey, listen, let's organize. Let's get a bunch of guys together from South Africa to go and race in Namibia. Namibians saying, oh, come on, we want you guys. Come play with us. We got a little bit dirt. We got to get a little bit dirt out in the rally. And we've also got a bit of ACC to come and fight it out. And the South Africans saying, hey, buddy, come this way as well. Madagascar's also getting involved in it. That is going to be the top of it. Irimere saying Sarko didn't start LTR. No, yeah, that's true. It's where I think it's where there was a sort of a connection, but as you know a little bit more than me, so thank you for that. It didn't start at Sarko, but LTR was its own racing team that formed within Sarko's racing series. But out there, we have got quite a few racing under the MSA umbrella, but the main thing we're focusing on now is we've got Bertus Hugo needing to pit, Matthew Carter needing to do a pit, Fred Alberts needing to do a pit. He's in 9th position. And does anyone want to tell Van der Westhuizen that he's still got 2 mandatory pit stops? Van der Westhuizen needs to complete those 2 mandatory pit stops. Oh, into Leerkorp going and getting a tank slapper under braking. That BMW not coming to a stop the way he wanted to. Now he's in front of Stewart. Blue flags being shown by our Kyalami marshals. And Kevin Buick is going to try and hope that Rian is going to slow him up. Oh, tries to look on the inside. Just couldn't get it all hooked up right to the end as they fight their way through. This is some amazing runs at the moment for our drivers currently out there, with 4 cars needing to do pit stops. Rian van der Westhuizen pulls into the pits. He's going to do his mandatory pit stops. It's been a race, but Matthew Carter has also pulled into the pits. That is going to allow Doug Herber to take 2nd place away from him. So Doug Herber is going to keep his foot in it and wants to make a little bit of history and set the mark. And Matthew Carter for the ZRC team will be weighing SB Racing, Chevy Basson, going and fighting his way around. He is currently lying in 3rd place. He doesn't need to do any pit stops. 18 minutes to go. And it is a charge down to the wire. Closest battle on circuit, though. Jude Stewart and Kevin Buick. I mean, this is 6th and 7th of our AMs, guys, that are fighting it out tooth and nail. They're elbow to elbow. They're giving it everything they got. If you want to see them giving it stick, if this is what is to come, it's awesome. Anton Repsol now side by side with Matthew Carter, who just came out the pits. Repsol, who has completed all the pit stops. Oh, takes that before Matthew Carter loses out the drive. Repsol is able to get on the brakes just enough, and I think there might have been the slightest of contact between the two. They did give each other a bit of room and able to get going, but Repsol now having to just try get those tires all in check. Carter is going to have his tire pressures through the roof. They're going to be blistering at this point. He has to try and cool them down. Fred Alberts, though, no! He goes and loses it. I think he's dropped a wheel on the dirt. And that was all she wrote for the Aston Martin. That does allow Lucas Jabert to get past him. Oh, no. All right, said Fred. Fred Alberts having a bit of a moment into barbecue, gets it all together, runs out wide. Oh, just a fraction on the grass, and that was all she wrote for that car. Reverses it back just to point himself straight with a bit of clear circuit, so to get himself back in the race. Jude Stewart keeping ahead of Kevin Bugh. These two still fighting it out. Anton Repsold right behind Matthew Carter, and will keep pushing. Bertus Hugo, though, still needing to do his mandatory stop. Doug Herber currently 36 seconds behind him. 41 laps completed by our drivers, ladies and gentlemen. 41 laps here at Kyalami, and it's all out charge. It's a war to get to the front, and it is going to be a race of nutrition at this point. Everyone starting to feel the strain. Everyone has been practicing for this moment to get to the top of the running around the circuit here at Kyalami Grand Prix circuit. A beautiful, beautiful circuit in real life. One with so much history, and now is showing off a bit more history in the world of sim racing, as Kevin looks on the inside of Jude. Couldn't get past him there. Tried again, but we'll have to wait it out. 41 laps completed by Bertus Hugo, and if we go and put that into our calculator of how many kilometers have been completed by our drivers, that is 168.2 kilometers of driving, ladies and gentlemen. 168.2 over 41 laps going and racing it out, which is absolutely tremendous, tremendous stuff. And John Stewart, oh no, this is out heading into Cheetah, so he's lost it through Cheetah and got a bit of a problem. Repsold onto the back of Matthew Carter. They will be continuing to fight it out, but Stewart, though, getting a bit of a tank slapper that threw him into the wall, and now getting some work done. So Van der Westhuizen needing to pit, and Fred Alberts needing to do their pit stops. That will be for the finals. We did say in the 20-minute mark was roughly the time we see guys generally pull in the pits with this type of duration of race, but it looks like some are going to try and take it a little bit deeper. We will see guys in the Pro-Am and the Pros coming tomorrow who are going and running as deep as they can into it. They're going to be trying to fiddle around as much as possible. And I do want to point out that our AM division that we see here tonight is not incredibly slow. They're not slow by any means of the word. They are within the fight. And the difference in grading, you're talking about 0.2, 0.3 to half a second at most between our pros and our AMs that are racing out here, which is what we love to see. Different skill levels, giving it their absolute all. And even though it's not for the crown tonight, but we are watching our AMs really slug it in. Repsold, Matthew Carter still fighting out. Repsold Racing versus the likes of ZRC. The first time these two have ever seen each other on circuit was tonight, and it does look like Ashton up on the inside, Carter going out a little bit wide, a little bit of understeer between the two, and he's able to bring it back. No! John Stewart's coming out of the pits, get a stop-go, 30-second penalty. That is going to eat his time. And that is coming off the button just a fraction too early at this point. So the drivers needing to work out what's going to be the opportunity at this point. With a stop-go 30-second penalty in play, it is going to really run them down for the MSA African Cup Esports event, approved by FIA, brought to you by MSA, and sponsored by Zodiac Racing for our stewards, and also a big thank you to RaceFace.Pro for our servers running for the weekend duration, and also for our hot laps. But also a massive thank you to the communities that have been part of it as well, such as OKLA, Genesis Esports, Black Ribbon Simulations, all going and being a part of this amazing effort. Monday Night Racing as well, Logistical Nightmare Racing, RaceFace.Pro for the MSA and FIA as well, being a massive driving force behind this new frontier out in sim racing. Matthew Carter keeping the inside line. Aston Repsol tried going around the outside, couldn't get it all sorted out. Into the toe now, trying to pull himself down the mine shaft. Repsol keeping as close as he can to that McLaren. Is he going to look for the inside line? Tries for it. Big send. Can he get it all hooked up? Two of them side by side into Crocodile contact once again. That understeer from the Aston Martin into the side of the McLaren. And still pushing. The two are rubbing paint, but being fair, Repsol at this point trying to say, hey buddy, you need to get going. We need to try and make up some ground here as we're fighting closer and closer to third place. Kevin Bugh and Jude Stewart, though, coming to blows. What happened between the two of them? Let's see if we can go back to our number 14 car and also to Kevin Bugh. So this is Jude Stewart dropping off circuit. He's allowing the likes of Doe Herbert to get by. He goes on to the defense with Kevin, who takes a dive. Oh, a little bit of a tank slapper slide and a knock. Kevin giving Jude a little bit of a knock there. And that does twist him around, unfortunately. And Kevin now having to try and make up a bit of ground. So a little bit of a tank slapper did cause a bit of contact. And Kevin not able to slow the car down enough. Stop go 30-second now cleared. And let's see if we can go back from Kevin's point of view and see what that all looked like. Where Jude got a little bit of a tank slapper. And let's see, climbing onto the anchors. He tried going for an inside pass. Oh, just nothing he could do. The door closed up on him and that was all she wrote, really. So he's able to get it going, and thankfully both cars not too much damage. Oh no, Jude though going off into the dirt. So Jude Stewart needs to try and get the head back into the game here. Frustration did build and now needs to just try and dial it back. Try and figure out what's going to be the best effort at this point as they make their way through. All the drivers still pushing as hard as they can. And Anton Repsol fighting it out. Matthew Carter, who is lying in 4th place at this point, 24, nearly 25 seconds behind Chevy Besson, who's lying in 3rd. So with now 9 minutes and 40 seconds to go, Bertus Hugo, Doe Herbert in 2nd place, Chevy Besson in 3rd, Matthew Carter in 4th, Ashton Repsol in 5th, 6th is Kevin Bugh, Jude Stewart, 8th is Lucas Joubert, Fred Albert, Gerard Jacobs, John Stewart, and Rian van der Veste and rounding out our field at the moment. And guys, I just want to point it out there to everyone. Can we just get a bit of support? Everyone there in the grandstands, everyone in the chat, I want you guys to go and fight it out. I want you to go and show your support. Go and let these AM drivers know that they are putting on a show. And I'm going to use a good movie quote. I'm going to use a quote that's been around for ages. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you not entertained? If you are, go and show it. I want to see those emotes. I want to see the cheers. I want you to cheer on the drivers. And I want you to go and put a great big fire next to an AM and say, well done to these guys, because they get into the closing stages of the race, and if this is what we're going to expect, this is going to be a race. Repsol going and getting past Matthew Carter, who made a mistake into Crocodile. John Stewart, though, has fallen off a circuit trying to get his car restarted. So John Stewart making a bit of a mistake, and this is an outright fight. Matthew Carter has got 8 minutes to try and reclaim 4th place. Repsol, who's in 4th place, is going and biting at a tooth and nail at this point. He's holding on, going to show that pink is gonna go. Matthew outbraking himself into turn 2, losing the gap 1.3 seconds. But I also want to point out another gap that's starting to close down is Chevy Besson and Doe Herbert. Besson may get into the fight for 2nd place. Doe Herbert, with 7.5 minutes to go, has now got Busun right behind him. Chivy is gonna give it, because this is make or break for it. This is where the drivers are gonna have to dig deep. They're gonna have to really get that drive in. It is an outright charge for our AM division here tonight for the MSA Africa Cup Esports, the first in its history, the inaugural running of it. And we are seeing these drivers lay it all out on the line. They're our AM division, but you know what? They are the pro in our hearts, and we're going to see the battles down to the wire, because this is it, folks. Anton Repsol, Matthew Carter, they're battling it out. Doe Huber and Shivi Basson are fighting out for second and third. They are leaning into this. This is going to be a monumental finish for the drivers, because this is, you've earned it. You've stuck it out. You have fought tooth and nail right the way through. From first to 12th, we've had two people, unfortunately, not able to finish the race, but I've seen them out in the chat here. This is proper, folks. Matthew Carter, holding on to that fastest lap time of the race, is now under a second behind Anton Repsol going into turn 2, lost it out. Going out on the exit of turn 2, now make his way up through to barbecue. Ashton Repsol still trying to get a little bit of drive at this point. 1.3 seconds between them. Chevy Basson and Doe Herber, 1.3 seconds between them. Bertus Hugo, who's currently in first, nobody tell him, because nerves will kick in at this point, is trying to make his way through. Kevin Bug, who was down in 14th position with a smashed car, the Madagascan, is up into 6th place, and he is still going. Jude Stewart's out there for Angry Racing. Lucas Jabé of LTR is still circulating. Fred Alberts is out there. Gerrit Jacobs is out there. John Stewart's out there. And Rian van der Westhuizen, despite running out of fuel, is still going in this race here at Kyalami, South Africa, for the inaugural running of the MSA African Cup Esports. My heavens, Fred Alberts is officially pulled into the pits, trying to get it sorted out. That will have John Stewart going and trying to make up some time to close up the distance between them. 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go in this race, and it's all on. Doe Herber holding on to that second place as hard as he can. Chevy Basson, who is right behind him, is saying, come on, Porker, let loose. As you can see, he's working so hard with the Ferrari, those rear tires being lit up. Now it's to get past Jacobs. Does so. Stop go, 30-second penalty for Fred Alberts. Not so nice for Fred. He's getting a stop go 30-second penalty in the last 4 minutes of this race. He's got a stop go 30-second penalty. That will allow John Stewart an opportunity to jump a position. This is turning into a race to watch out right to the end. The bar is pretty set, and to all you pro and pro-am drivers, I hope you're ready, because the AMs have raised the bar. They've stuck it there. It's up to you guys to carry it over, to really push it over the top right here at the MSA channel. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, give us that like, show us all the support there. Go and hit that bell notification icon as well, because this is a breakthrough in the history for the channel. This is sim racing, first ever being put onto this channel right now. And I do want to point out, this event has been signed off by the FIA to go and crown a MSA African Cup Esports champion by the end of Saturday. We will be crowning the fastest African for 2024 to wear the crown for this year. Next year, we will have plenty more going for it. And just taking a look there, Mandy saying, my nerves can't take it. Go, go, go to Ashton. But I do want to point out, we've got a second between second and third. This is now make it or break it for both Chivy and Doe. This is history in the making for both of them. They have not come to blows with one another till tonight. They have not seen each other on the same grid until tonight. Two competitors completely unknown to one another, and Doe is going to have to get his elbows out here as Shivy's going to try look for the inside line, braking a little bit earlier through Learcorp. Now it's down the line shaft. He is going to have to push as hard as he can to keep Shivy at bay, but Shivy is going to keep winding it in, keep putting the pressure. He has been closing and closing and closing, and we're waiting for Jim to come on the radio and say that the leader will be on the last lap. We're waiting for that moment. 0.5 of a second. Ferrari, Porsche, two manufacturers that have fought it out. Doe dropping wheel off on the dirt. Shivy trying to go around the outside. This is all or nothing for the drivers. This is for second place. They can see Bertus Hugo just in the distance as well. Bertus is only 4 seconds away. If Bertus makes a mistake, either one of these two can possibly take the win for AM. So it is all on the line. Doe defending on the inside, does go out a little bit wide. Shivy tries to go on the inside of him, couldn't get it all sorted out. Up through the S's, now into the barbecue, hooking it to the left-hander, short straight before they head into Sunset. And this is where Shivy's got the advantage. He's in the slipstream. He needs to get that dive. The gap between Doe and Bertus is getting smaller and smaller. Doe running out a little bit wide. Shivy going and also running out a bit wide. Heading in to Clubhouse. All okay there. Still so close between Shivy and Doe at this point. Heading into the first of the S's. Really slicking it in. Shivy doing everything he can. And on board you can see he is just giving it everything he's got with this Ferrari. Doe Herber watching his mirrors like a hawk, defending the inside line. Doe is saying, if I'm going to lose this, I am going to put everything into it. I'm going to turn this Porsche into a brick wall for the end. Shivy is going and carrying the Ferrari name on him at this point and saying, I've got to show that Ferrari leads the top of the pack. We have not been defeated in the GT racing. We've proven ourselves in the endurance racing side from GT and sports cars. Porsche doing the same thing, and now they keep an eye on these two. They are fighting out for second place. Final lap. That's it. Bertus Hugo, confirmation, taking the win for the MSA Africa Cup Esports here tonight. Bertus Hugo gets the win. Doe Herber taking second place for the AM division. Shivy Basson with a massive fight taking third. Anton Repsold coming across taking fourth place. So Ashton Repsold takes that fourth place. Matthew Carter taking fifth. Kevin Buke coming across the line. The Madagascan, the only Madagascan that has entered this, has gone and come sixth in the AM. Our marshals telling her it's all done. Jude Stewart out there. Lucas Joubert will be coming across the line. Gerrit Jacobs, John Stewart, Fred Alberts, Ryan van der Westhuizen, after running out of fuel, has come across the line. Ladies and gentlemen, the win goes to, the bragging rights for 2024 for the AM division does go to Bertus Hugo. But I think the race that all of us can say kept us all on our feet goes to Doe Herber and Reps and the likes of Shivy Basson. Well done, folks. Well done. Bar's been set, folks. History's been made right here for the MSA. I mean, we're gonna be going back. We're gonna see if we could try and get a couple of drivers to come and have an interview with us. So if anyone has comms, please tell the guys to come to the Discord, go to the commentary waiting section, and let's see if we can do a quick interview with our AMs. Let's give them a little bit of love for the racing that they did. Who wants to hear from our drivers? So we actually got Bertus Hugo, the winner of the race. So we're going to bring him in shortly to have a chat. And here we go. Bertus Hugo, the winner of the AMS for the first ever MSA African Cup Esports. And by no means was it an easy run. You had to fight it out there. How are you feeling, buddy?
My hands are sore. Sure, this is great. This is it's been a long time coming for me to. I didn't expect this. My first race win in like forever. So, yeah.
And your first ever time in not only an MSA race ever. You've never done real racing. You've done virtual,
Nope.
plenty of it. And as RaceFace.Pro, you guys have sponsored the service. Didn't expect to get in for the fight for the win, but at the moment, you walked away with a win on this one. That's a big thing. And your first win under the MSA umbrella, under all the different ASNs. I mean, this is under the umbrella that even the FIA said this event is happening. How are you feeling?
Sure. No, I think it still needs to sink in. But I just want to say congratulations to Doe and to Chivy. They put up a massive fight, and I had to keep focus all the time. This was quite a 90 minutes. But yeah, thanks, and thanks also to yourself and to the MSA for doing this. And everyone involved, the stewards in the background, ZRC, and obviously the RaceFace team. But yeah, everyone involved. Thanks so much. This is amazing. And it still needs to sink in.
All right, well, Bertus, I'm going to let you sink in. I'm going to bring, I think by far has been voted one of the best races of it. So I'm gonna let you go, Bertus. Well done on the win. Go and enjoy. Have a chocolate milkshake on me, okay?
Will do. Thanks so much.
All right, guys. We are going to bring in Do Herber and Chivy Bassan. Wow. Okay, let's start off with Chivy. Chivy, welcome to the commentary box. First time I'm getting to interview you. Third place in a hard-fought fight. I mean, right down to the wire. You had every single person going and cheering. It was a 50-50 out there in the spectators' grandstands for both you and Doe. How are you feeling with that race and coming third in the AM division after a monstrous fight like that? I don't think we can... Chivy, we're not hearing you on the microphone. I think he's got a little bit of technical difficulties there. So he's going to look at that. Still can't hear you. Just go into your settings and just check in that. While you're sorting that out, we're going to get Do Herber. Do, how are you feeling out there? Second place, had to fight it out. You had amazing talent like Chivy behind you that kept you honest the whole way through. That Ferrari had the Porsche in his sights. How are you feeling out there?
Sweating like a pig. It was, edge of my seat stuff for the whole race. In fact, I mean, I saw coming out of my second pit stop that Chivy was about 12.5 seconds, I think, behind me. And yeah, I started running the calculations in my head, and I knew this is going to be close. I think we're going to get to, kind of the last two laps. I thought that, it was going to be a hard race between me and Chivy. So, well done to Chivy. You kept me on my toes the entire race. So, thoroughly enjoyed this, guys. Stephen, I also want to say, for an amateur group of racers, I thought the quality of the driving was impeccable tonight. Guys that are getting blue flags and things like that were really courteous. So it was an excellent race. I really had fun. Thanks.
I see Chivy's just working. Chivy, can you hear me, buddy? We still can't quite hear you. So Chivy's just trying to get it all sorted out. He will move back into the commentary wing. Let's see if we can bring him in. Chivy, are you there, buddy? No, unfortunately, we seem to...
He may have lost his voice, Stephen.
I think so, but I mean, Chevy, I know you can't chat right now, but I just want to point out big thank you for coming out and racing. Your experience from the real world racing, you know how to go toe to toe. You've done VW racing, you fought it out numerous times, and you got to display it here today. You got to show it off in grand style, and wow, what a run. To take that Ferrari from fighting at the top of the pack, you took the early runs of just getting it through the pits early and then having to fight it out. I mean, that's just incredible stuff. I'm just going to see, is your microphone up and going? Doesn't seem like we picking you up, unfortunately, Chevy. Chevy,
there we go.
That's Bertus jumping in. All right, so I just want to, Chevy, if you really want, type up a quick message, send it on, and I'll relay it to everyone as well. We've got to get Chevy's voice heard out here. So Chevy, just quick type up on the message, just so we can carry over your voice. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Bertus Hugo taking the win, Dirk Herber in second place, Chevy Basson going and ultimately going and fighting it out. The closest race has to go to second and third. Bertus does take the bragging rights for AM for this year for the MSA Africa Cup Esports for 2024. But tomorrow we will be having our Pro-Am and also our feature race, the fastest of the fast, will be fighting it out. On behalf of all the AM drivers out there, a big thank you to everyone that has come out to support. A big thank you to all our drivers that have really shown a phenomenal effort. And wow, I can't wait for it. And if this is the start, oh boy, my voice is toast for the weekend. And I think everyone's nerves will be shot. So a big thank you to Bertus Hugo, Doe, and Chevy. I'm going to let you guys go. And we'll be...
Stephen,
yes,
before you let us go, I have a question.
Oh boy.
Bertus, were you feel saving at the end there? Because we were catching you very quickly.
Yeah, I was just managing the gap.
Well,
Okay.
you heard it there from our team. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go.
Thanks, Steve. Cheers.
Thank you very much. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a massive thank you to our sponsors, RaceFace.Pro for our servers. Big thank you to ZRC for our stewards. But also, moving on, a big well done goes out to Motorsport South Africa. Big thank you to Motorsport South Africa and MSA. Big thank you to Black Ribbon Simulations, OKLA, Genesis Esports, Monday Night Racing, all being part of it, and Logistical Nightmare that came out in full force. So shout out to you, Paul Fenter, because I know that you're showing a bit of love there. Also to all the Logistical Nightmare out there on the PlayStation scene as well. Head over, in our description is the sim racing website. Go and support, go and enjoy it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon, leave a like, and we'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock for our Pro-Ams on the build-up to the end of this inaugural MSA Africa Cup Esports right here in South Africa. We get to see all the Africans fight it out for one crown. Only one shall win. We're going to see it tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Stephen Koenig. I'd like to say thank you very much. And like always, I'm going to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.